Cretusa has to be one of my favorite models that Games Workshop has ever created. And ever since I saw it the first time, I knew I wanted to paint it. Not only did I know I wanted to paint it, but I kind of knew how. I wanted this warm scheme with pinks and orange and reds. That is why in episode 3 of Miniature Masters, when we had the ambience challenge, as soon as I saw Cretusa in the store, I was like, oh my gosh, I am painting this one. Little did I know that it was gonna end in torture and pain and full-on confusion. About 2 hours into the challenge, I was recommended by the judges to remove the orange and stick to the purple and the green. Sadly, I didn't have the skills to pull it off. I realized that I need to practice it more. Looking back at it now, even though I don't hate my initial entry, it has been bothering me that I didn't stick to my initial idea. It has been bothering me so much, in fact, that I decided to repaint the whole model all over again. Not only is this project an itch I really need to scratch, but it's also an attempt to practice and see if I can understand ambience a little bit better. I start the same way that I did during Miniature Masters, which is by underpainting the model. I initially saw the underpainting technique used by Craftworld Studios many years ago, and this seems to me like a helpful way when placing your model in an environment. Underpainting is when instead of basing different materials in different colors, you basically base your whole model with specific colors or ingredients, and then you build your layers on top of it. So when I'm layering on top of my underpainting, I try to use the colors underneath both to guide my lights and shadows, as well as the colors I'm going to use on the model. Some places I build up transparent layers in order to let the underpainting shine through, and some places I cover it a little bit more. Honestly, it's a very cool way to approach painting, especially if you find base coloring all the different materials a bit boring, like I do. For the highlights, I usually add a little bit of bright green to my orange highlights. This is because when you add ice yellow, you're desaturating the orange, and the green will help keeping some of that saturation. I decided to change the grey hair into more pink. This is just because I think the pink is going to sell our ambience a little bit better. The skin is a very good example where I'm trying to keep my layers transparent and playing with the underpainting underneath. A challenging aspect of painting this model is how you're going to draw attention to her face when her face is all covered. I do this by trying to keep my brightest highlights around her face, on the top of her wings, and framing her face as good as I possibly can. For the hair, I had to be very thorough with my highlights. I tried to be very sharp and precise with the lines, as well as going over several layers to ensure that I had good coverage. For the gold, I used the same colors that I used all over the model. I used the purple, orange, yellow, a little bit of green, creating this orange color, which eventually is going to look like gold. It is these really sharp and bright highlights in the end that really sell the gold effect, so don't be shy and go very bright. So one of my least favorite things to paint is actually wings, so you can see that I paint one part of the wing at a time. I painted one of the front wings, and now I'm doing one of the wings in the back, and I'm just gonna keep spreading it out throughout the project so that I don't get overloaded with too many wing painting. And here you can see the difference between just the underpainting and when you have put paints on top of it. I looked at the model and decided that I need to create more attention around her face, so I decided to highlight her hand and her shoulder a little bit brighter. Let me tell you, I was not happy that there were more wings to get painted. I will say that during this project I was going a lot back and forth on the different areas, adjusting the brightness of the different places, but also trying to keep the ambience intact is kind of challenging, so it does make it so that I have to do several takes to get it right. So the rocks I was actually very scared to do. This is because I was really liking how the underpainting was looking at it, so I wanted to not ruin the effect. I decided to blend these colors together to create this like caramelly brown tone, and I was so relieved when it turned out the way I wanted it to. You never know, you know? On top of the... honestly, I don't know what it's called, but I tried to keep my layers very transparent. This is to keep the underpainting visible under it, as well as creating this nice old rock texture. When painting the fire, I honestly didn't really know what I wanted. I kept in mind the feedback from the judges during Miniature Master, and that was that the fire in a sunset wouldn't really be that bright. So I was struggling to figure out how bright I could make it, how green I could make it, but also keeping it realistic in relation to our ambience. For the ravens, I decided to play a little bit with the colors around it, so I tried to highlight the areas facing away from the model more purple, and then the areas facing towards the model more magenta. And now I was trying to finish the rest of the model, making sure the different areas were painted to a decent level. One of the last details to paint was a gold fire pit. I used most of the same colors as earlier, but I did add a lot more green in the brightest highlights. This was just to create the illusion that there were green reflection coming from the green flame. I asked Natalia for some feedback, as she is an incredible painter as well as being an expert in this specific topic, and she recommended that I add more shadows to the miniature, as it's going to help sell the ambience a little bit better. So when I was nearing the end of this project, I airbrushed some magenta and purple back into the shadows. Not only did it help strengthen the ambience, but it also helped guiding the focus to the most important parts of the model. And then the only thing left to do was to do an extra sharp highlight on the most important areas, and then we were done. So yeah, this is how it turned out. Honestly, I will not say if it's better or worse than my initial entry. I will say though that this version feels way more like me and something that I would like to paint. I will say though that I should practice more ambience in the future and not rely on my usual bright colors. It's a saying in my head that a beautiful model has lots of paint schemes, and it's definitely true with this model. So yeah, I want to give a huge thanks to my Tier 3 Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for your extra supports, that really helps this channel out. If you want to see painting tutorials, you can see the link to my Patreon down below. You also can see my links to Instagram and Twitch. I stream on Wednesdays and Fridays. Next week I'm going to be doing a Q&A, so please write your comments down below and maybe I can answer it in the video. And don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. It really makes a huge difference and it means so much. Thank you so much for watching. You are the best.